templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And this is one of the healing events that I do each month for my patrons. And this is our personal healing event. This is especially for those patrons who pledge $50 or more for March. So thank you for your support. So I have 5 people on the list today, and I have put those 5 people on names here in this cup, and I'll be pulling your name out when I get to that point. So what I will be doing is when I pull your name out, I'm going to also pull a healing energy card at the beginning, also one at the end to finish that or complete that connection. I'll be spending about 10 minutes with each person for this healing time. So I'll be tuning in. The way that I tune in is, it might sound really weird, but I imagine that I'm you. So I know my energy in my body and my configuration, how I usually feel really well. So when I'm tuning into people, I start feeling things in my body that I know are not my feelings or sensations, because I don't usually have them. So that's what I'm very sensitive to. And I'm also very sensitive, pretty obviously, to my intuition and what I'm picking up with my senses. So not just feeling in my body, but also the visuals and senses that I have. So I will tune in to each person. Whatever's loudest in your vibration is going to get my attention first. And then I will share and interpret that information as best as I can. So I can't hold anything back, because if I even decide to not say something because I don't know if you're ready to hear it or not, or whatever the reason might be, it doesn't work with the way I connect, because it just blocks the flow of energy straight away. Even if I get a visual of something that doesn't make sense to me or is really weird, I have to sort of say it and acknowledge that to get the energy moving to wherever it's going. So I trust in that flow and that movement. So I don't hold back. Sometimes the energies and what comes through can be quite confronting and quite blunt, because it needs to be. So I just trust in that flow. So let's see what comes up today for you. Now, if you're not one of the people on my list, or you're waiting for your turn, then I trust that you've been led here for a reason. And I trust that something shared, even with someone else's name on it, also perhaps resonates in some way with you. So you can trust that things that speak to you, that resonate with you at this time, and just let the other things go. So I think I'm pretty much ready to start. So let's start. So take a nice big breath. I'm going to dive into my little pot. And the first person I'm connecting with is Susan Sonsteng. Susan, please take a nice big breath, and we'll see which healing energy cards you need for now. Okay. So I'm feeling, just here at the beginning, I'm feeling energy move in your hips, Susan. And as I'm connecting with that hip energy, there's also energy moving in your heart. And the energy feels like it's pulling down. So like your hips pinning you down to the earth. And there's an energy that's moving down also in the heart, almost like it wants to peg you down into the earth as well from the heart. So that's what I'm feeling to begin with. But let's just grab a card and then we'll tune in a bit further. Okay, so we have this card 91. It says Ruins to Wonder. So down here it says, excuse me, it says rebuild in new and improved ways. Rise up from the ashes, create something better than before, be dedicated, commit, and create new memories. So this is like out of the rubble, out of the ashes, something new arises, something new comes. It's a bit like a phoenix energy as well, but there is certainly a connection, most likely with building or structure of some kind, because it has a very strong building feel, like a building collapses, the tower crumbles, and something rises, a new building rises in its place or from that rubble. So it has a strong building structural feeling. So it could be literal building, but it could be you building or creating more structure, more regime, more plans, more specific things that create structure and security and foundations for you in your particular life. So this takes me back to that energy that I connected with at the beginning, which is this pinning down feeling in the hips and pinning down feeling in the heart. So probably the best way to describe this in camping terms or with a camping description is that if we were tying down our tent or tying down an annex or an awning, that we would use guy ropes. So it's like little guy ropes around your hips and around your heart or in your heart. And there's a rope that comes down and the rope's pegged into the ground. So that's how it feels to me. It's very pegged. So pegged down. Now, usually things are pegged down so they don't fly away, they don't blow away in the wind or the storms, or if the weather gets up in the middle of the night or whatever the situation might be. So there is a feeling of pinning things down, tying things down so they don't blow away in a storm that is either underway now or a storm that is coming up. So as I say, a storm that's coming or a storm that's underway, I can feel the pull here from the being pegged down here in the heart. It's like it's being pulled at. You know, like if you have your awning pegged and tied down and the wind gets up and the awning's flapping away and the rope is sort of trying its best to keep everything down, but there's like a friction point or a point between the movement of the canvas or the tent or tarp or whatever it is and where it's actually pinned down. So this point here of connection between the moving parts and the pegged down parts is what's really getting my attention here in your heart right now. And it feels quite tender in quite a small area. So it feels quite small, quite confined and defined, this area right in the center of your heart. And this is where all the wear and tear is. So it feels like wear and tear as the wind's moving through and the storms pass through in your life. And one storm passes, calms down, another storm comes and passes and it calms down. So as things have been battered and tossed around, it feels like this friction point here it's been worn. There's this wear and tear feeling. Like it's trying to pin things down, but at the same time, the other components moving. So it's creating a friction and this really worn feeling here at this very center point of your heart. So very refined, small area right in the center of your heart. It's like right in the core, the middle part, that lowest part, the apex, if you like, of the volcano, right down here in your heart. So it feels deep here. And it feels like in some ways this pinning down, this pegging down, is actually restricting the ability or your ability to flow or move with the weather and the movements of life, the flow, the rhythm of things at this time too. So it feels like a part is locked in, but another part wants to move. So my instincts, like my intuition here, are saying to cut the cord, to cut this pin down feeling here, and to ground the energy in a different way so that you're moving with. So it's a bit like, you know, back to the camping thing, because it feels like it really relates here. It's a bit like when we have a guy rope with a peg in the ground, but if we add a spring to that guy rope, then the thing moves, what we've tied down moves with the wind or the movement of the canvas or whatever we're pinning down. So I feel like we can create a solution here by keeping things taut, by keeping things fixed in some way or protected or safe, or to help out weather the storm. There's solutions that we'll be able to find, but it's going to be something that's more flexible and something that moves with the energy of the wind and the movement, the rhythm that's taking place and that will continue to take place. So my instincts, my intuition just says cut this cord So we just cut this cord here at your heart. We'll keep the hip ones for now because I need to focus on those shortly. But the heart ones needs to be clipped. So this is super tight. So tight, this rope, that it probably will snap before too long. And when things snap, that's when things collapse. That's when breakdown potentially occurs as well. So I feel if we can clip this now and create a solution that's more flexible, more springy, then this will likely help with how things affect you that are happening in your life. So take a nice big breath, Susan. We're going to clip this now. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, clip this cord. It's very tight, so it pulls back down like an elastic band that's been pulled too tight, and then you let go and it springs back. So it's broken, this tie, and I can see the kind of canvas or the roof that's been holding down here, the shelter, and this is flapping about now in the wind. So just removing the little knot of rope here as well and dropping this down to the ground where it just returns back to love. And already it's not feeling as tender. It feels a little calmer through here now. There's energy moving in your sacral chakra, so just below your navel. So there's emotions that are stirring from this release. And you may find a bit of panic, like you're about to fall back and you've got nothing to hold on to. So there's that feeling here of losing control or losing balance or losing something here. So just reassuring you that you have your balance, you are staying upright, and that we can create a better solution here to keep things in balance and intact, and whatever this energy is that is needing to be there right now. So hooking, grabbing this edge of the canvas, hooking a hook over it and bringing it down. It sits down over your heart here. Now the hook has a soft side that feels very golden, like a flat piece of gold that's circular, like a circular golden disc that's sitting over the chest like a plate of your heart, with the hook that sits over the top of that. So it's being protected so it doesn't wear and tear at your heart. So this makes me feel that whatever this situation is, it's something very close to your heart. So putting that hook there and running a new fresh rope down with a spring at the bottom and pegging that straight down in between your legs, basically in between your feet here into the earth. The peg is very long, so grounding you and really anchoring you down into the planet, into this moment. So this is already feeling better, and that cool golden circular plate feels quite cool. So, and this feels very welcome too. So it feels very hot here, very hot and fiery, this energy here in your heart. So your hips now, the energy's automatically shifted. It's almost like this heart change that we've made is like the master, and the other connections have already switched. So I see the attachments here at your hips, not as worn and torn as the heart, but there's a spring that's now been added at the bottom here to help you move and be a bit more flexible with where life is tossing you about at this time. So I trust that makes sense, Susan. Let's grab a card to add here. See what this wants to add or validate or finalize or whatever it's needed. We have this card here. It's card 10, Mental Emergence. It's in the Rise category, and it says awareness, be conscious of your thoughts, ideas, solution, determination, breakthrough. Sit with your thoughts and allow the supportive ones to come to the front. So this is like a mental support now. So mentally supporting the changes that we've just made, allowing you to be more flexible, not feel so worn and torn or being quickly approaching breakdown or overwhelm, and helping you keep your state of balance so you can continue to flow. So thanks, Susan. I trust this resonates with you. Thank you so much for your support, and namaste. Okay, let's have a drink. And let's see who's next. I can't remember if I said, but there are 5 people in this today. And this is the second. It's Tashy Tashy Gerlach. I don't know how to pronounce your name properly. Sorry, Tash. But you know who you are, Tash. So, Tash, we're now connecting with you. So take a nice big breath and let's see what comes through. Well, first of all, we need to do a card sort because I just came out. Okay, get them back together again. All right, so nice big breath, please, Tash. And the best card to start this connection today is, oops. Okay, we haven't got there yet. I like a nice clean shuffle before I pick the card. Yes, okay, that feels better. Otherwise, I take it the cards need to be shuffled further. Ah, card 15, Winds of Change. It's in the action category. And it says, adapt, adjust, change, fast, aftermath, things shuffling, topsy-turvy. Your roots are strong. Let unneeded parts of yourself and your life break away. So this is change coming in. So that windy energy, which I've already talked about in the last connection with Susan too. So there may be a connection here between you both. But this feeling of support and this feeling to that you will endure somehow. So break away the parts that don't need to be there and remember that your roots are strong. Okay, Tash, nice big breath. Let's see. Okay, this might sound really weird, but let's just go with it. It feels really itchy and hot energy coming up around the base of your neck and almost around the very tops of your shoulders. So just around this neckline, if you like, this line here, but it's around the back and just coming around to the front. It's a bit like you've got a really big horseshoe sitting around your neck, right here in the small of your neck. And it feels itchy, it feels uncomfortable, it feels like an irritant. Is probably a really good word to use, irritant, that's sitting here over this lower part of your shoulder, your neck here. Okay, so this irritant, so the horseshoe is a really great description of how I'm feeling this, and it feels like a rusty horseshoe. And the rust is kind of wearing off. The rust is irritating. It's tickling, it's scratching, and it's not very comfortable. This energy is, it's like all the rust particles are funneling then back down into your back, into the middle of your back and your spine, and dropping down from the back of your neck to the back of your heart. So rust is old energy. So this feels like stuff that needs to be released. Feels like stuff that's flaking away, stuff that doesn't need to be there anymore. It's definitely connected with your past because I'm feeling it in the back. And it's most likely connected with burden that you carry from the past because I'm also feeling it over your shoulders. And it feels a bit heavy, heavy there too. And because it trails down into the back of your heart, it's saying also there's probably a past connection here of a situation that sits very close to your heart that you've been working on shedding and clearing. It's a bit like shedding old skin, but in this case, to me, it's feeling like flakes of rust that are just flaking away. And they're sort of sticking somehow too. They're kind of breaking up, breaking down the irritant, but they're sort of sticking and staying. So even though these rust bits, they drop down into the back of your heart, it's sort of like they stick there, like sticking on something damp or sprinkling glitter over our skin, and then where we're sweaty the glitter sticks. So it's a bit like that feeling. So there's a release happening, but there's also a feeling here that there's a release that you're doing that is not sticking. It's not working somehow. It's not staying. So you might feel that you're making good progress with something, but then it's like that progress isn't even noticed or isn't actually happening, or you go back to old things or back to old ways in some area that's very difficult for the healing to stick right now. So the rusty feeling here has a very red-brown feeling. It feels very earthy. It feels like it very much connects to your roots. So I would say to your, probably your family line, your bloodline, maybe even your ancestry that's coming up here, because it feels very rooted, very connected with your roots. Your roots is in your family tree is what I'm seeing too. So what we need to do is take the horseshoe off, this horseshoe energy that I'm feeling, because this is continuing to produce the rust, and then the rust is sticking. So we need to get this burden off first, where you felt choked or suppressed in the past, but not so much today. Because the horseshoe is open here, it's showing that actually you don't feel the feeling that you had in the past today. So that's another sort of puzzling thing as to why it's sticking, why the healing, why the releasing isn't shifting this, because it's not in effect today. You don't have the same problem today in relationships or connections, or even from earlier in your life. That suppression that you had, if you had that today from the past and it was still present in your relationships and connections today, this would be a ring around here. So because this is open, this shows me that you have changed things. Things are not how they used to be. You have created a different life for yourself, and you are getting yourself back. So this suppression that you've had in the past that is still very stuck to you, we could say, is not happening now. That to me feels like enough information or enough knowledge, enough of a aha moment to actually release this for good. So then my questions to you would be things like, why are you still holding on? Why is it difficult to release? Why are you still holding? Now, sometimes we hold on even though it's not present today. Sometimes we hold on because we might feel bitter, we might feel angry, we might, in some cases, people get attention from the story, so that's something that they seem to gravitate to. I'm not saying that's the case for you, but these might be some things to question. Because it's not present today, why is it still there? So talking about this has actually loosened this horseshoe energy, which now feels a bit more floppy, like flexible, a bit more like plastic. And I'm just pinching it here at the back of your neck, pulling it off where it's now just like floppy rubber, and dropping it to the ground where it just returns back to love. All the rust particles, just dusting those off. So I feel like I've got a really thick, bristly brush and just flicking those bits of rust off, and the stain that it's left around here too. So flicking all that off as much as possible. The stain remains, but let's bring some energy through. So bring in a really nice, clear, appley green, and that energy comes down, covers all that area where that sort of horseshoe energy was, and also down where the rust trailed down to your heart. The green now sits in your heart like you've got this little cup or this little bowl that has been collecting that rust. It sits in there because the rust is gone, but the green healing light sits into that place where you've been collecting it. Now, it could be things that you've been punishing about yourself. So this could be your own self-criticism too. The suppression of you from the past that then turned into maybe a personal criticism or a lack of self-worth, a lack of self-love or self-acceptance, this sort of thing, which may be why it pulled in the back of your heart. So that's now cleared. This area is being refreshed, and the stains, all the remnants of this now being removed. So let's see which card we need to add here for you, Tash. To finish this off, and we have this card here. It's card 61, and it says notice the details. It says make sure you comprehend and understand what is being communicated. Don't fill in the blanks or read between the lines. Pay attention, think and read. So this is accumulating knowledge and gathering the details, the information that you need to move forward. So this may be memories that you have. It may be the truth of whatever's hit you as truth for what's come through, and how you can now look at that block and proceed continue proceeding without it, but also without the burden of it, if you like. So thanks, Tash. Thanks so much for your support and for allowing me to connect with you. Namaste. Okay, I'm going to turn off my heater because it is hot, and plus I'm rugged up in my winters. It's a bit rainy and cool outside. But the next person here it's Carlee Chirichiello. Take a nice big breath, Carlee. And let's grab a card for you. So quite, so far, quite sort of specialised areas we're working on. But who knows, that may change, it may stay. We will see. Okay, the best card for you, Carlee, is this here. Oh, card 70. New power rising. It almost feels like you're coming out of the genie's bottle, where you've been living confined and restricted and contained in this little genie's bottle, maybe in your own little world, or your own, dealing with your own little things in here, but important things, of course. But it feels like you're coming out like this tiger, emerging from the genie's bottle and that confinement and that containment that you've had. It says you're the conqueror of obstacles. You are brave, you are resilient. A tough situation has made you stronger. Responsibility, true power, and the momentum is building as you rise up out of the genie's bottle. So your head's out. Your body is not yet. So it feels to me like you're being, like I imagine what it might feel like for a baby being born, and its head comes out, and then, well, usually once the head, it's once the shoulder's out, the rest comes, usually, isn't it? But I imagine this sort of baby's head waiting to come out of the birth canal, and it's sort of here. And that's what I feel with this energy as I connect with you here, Carlee, is that you're making your way out of the genie's bottle, out of the things that have been confining you and limiting you and containing you, and have been quite fine in general at times as well. That's been your comfort zone, perhaps, in there. Makes me actually think, are you a Cancerian? Because it also makes me feel like a crab shell, this sort of contained feeling, your home and your safe place contained, and you're coming out of that now, is the feeling. So your head is out, and I don't know if it's exactly stuck, but things aren't moving. Things aren't moving here at the neck. So I think about like when my son was born, out with the forceps to help get the rest of the body out, pulling from the head. So this also reminds me, or makes me feel really drawn to your mind, and that your mind is actually your power at this time. Your mind is your power. So try not to, for too long at least, think too smallly about yourself, or think in a suppressed small way, especially if you're feeling a bit stuck, or you're feeling like you're in between things as you emerge, almost like the phoenix here, preparing to rise from the ashes, but also a part of you still can change. Moving out of that comfort zone is also uncomfortable, because we're moving out of our comfort zone. And the comfort zone really is our no growth zone, but sometimes we need to be in our comfort zone to heal, to survive, to rest. But then we reach a point, hopefully once those things are met, that we can emerge from that confinement, from that comfort zone. So we move out of the no growth zone, but sometimes the necessary zone to survive, and we move into the growth zone. So that's where I feel you're going. So you might be a bit challenged right now, and you might feel like you're stuck. You might even wonder if you're making much progress. Maybe you think, maybe there's this sense too that things are seeming to go backwards, because a part of you wants to go back in and be sucked down back into this genie's bottle. But you can't go back in now. Your head's already out. So you're already partly out. You're partly out, you're partly in. So your power now is to Work with the power of your mind to turn things around for yourself, especially the small thoughts you have about yourself that have become bad habits, that have kept you small and contained. You've followed your heart, you've taken steps to break through and to break free, but now there is this stalemate sort of feeling. So your mind is your power now to get out of this. I can't pull you out because I feel like your mind is your life raft, if you like. Your mind is the tool that you now need to summon to help pull you out the rest of the way. So what I am going to recommend is that you pay attention to your thoughts. Notice the thoughts that keep you down or keep you small or keep you contained, keep you in your self-criticism or self-doubt that you may have just automatically be sort of thinking. Notice those thoughts so you can turn them around. Kick those thoughts out. Kick them out. Show them the door and replace them with something positive and supportive and encouraging, because remember, you are the conqueror of obstacles. You are brave, you are resilient. This tough situation has made you stronger, and don't believe any less than that. You are strong. Look at this head here. Look at this head. Your mind is strong, Carlee. Your mind is powerful. So in some ways, this is about getting the lower thoughts out of the way so you can help yourself by thinking, focusing, your determination, your willpower, your resilience, your bravery, your courage to help you get out the rest of the way of this birth canal, moving out of this genie's bottle and into a space. Room to grow, room to move. I trust this resonates, Carlee. I feel this has been more of a mental healing and hopefully some encouragement mentally to help you keep going, because, yeah, this is really only something that you can do to birth yourself out of this sort of transformation that you're going through. So, maybe write down your blocks that you're feeling, look at different angles for a solution, throw yourself some lifelines. Can you encourage yourself more? This sort of thing. So, to finish this off, we've got a card jumps out. I don't usually take it, but I do want to. It's card 83 that's called Being Resistless. And its action, it says release your resistance, release your fear, release your anxiety, and just go for it. It is safe for you to proceed. Trust in the unfolding, be surprised, don't hesitate, and summon your courage. So this is a great action card now to move, and really supports this energy, moving you out of that stuck place and moving you forward out of resistance and into feeling resistless, the absence of resistance. Thanks, Carlee. Thanks for your support. And I trust this resonates with you. Namaste. Okay, we've got 2 people left. Next person is this person. This is Carol White. So Carol, please take a nice big breath. And let's see which card you need for this connection now. So your best card is this one here. Oh, so this is a card we had before for Susan, and it's card 91 that says Ruins to Wonder. And rebuild in new and improved ways, rise from the ashes, create something better than before, be dedicated, commit, and new memories being created. So this is a structural feeling that new structures are in place. And in fact, I see scaffolding all around you. So I feel like there's something that's changing, something that's been sort of renovated about you and your life. There is an upgrade, a renovation of sorts that's underway. So the scaffolding has been built around you, and now things are going to start crumbling that needs to go, and things are going to start building and renovating and being replaced that need to stay or that need to be upgraded. So if you were a building, it's a bit like the whole building being scaffolded up. The windows are cracked, let's say. So out with those windows, we put some new windows in. The place needs a paint because the paint is peeling. Right, let's strip the paint off and let's paint the walls. So there is a feeling here that renovations are underway for you because you're the building. You're the building. So you're building and you're renovating within yourself. So the scaffolding is already up. The pieces are moving into place, and the workers to help you, so the synchronicities, are moving into position, ready to change things for you, ready to renovate you and upgrade you because you're ready to create something better for your life than you've had before. And there is a feeling of reward here, like accomplishment, like you've worked really hard to get to this point, and now you can just relax a bit. Instead of having yourself painted in the paint choice of the dictator around you, it might be your employer, it might be the trend or whatever, it might be the paint that's available. You can pick the most outrageous colour of paint that you want. And there's going to be no one, or even if they do, it doesn't matter, no one that's going to rattle you with that. So if your favourite colour is bright orange, and you've always wanted to paint your house, let's say, or have a bright orange car or whatever, it feels like you're moving into a place where you're going to feel more comfortable to be yourself, to paint yourself or paint things, to create your life around what you want now. So this old way is breaking down, this old building is crumbling so that this new building can be created and formed. The scaffolding is there. The workers are going to work now. So things are in place. Things are happening behind the scenes. Your structures are probably breaking down. Old structures may be really challenging and testing, as the old ones that don't support you and don't resonate with your highest truth, they break down, and the new will be replacing that. So because I'm seeing this already scaffolded up, it shows me that things are happening behind the scenes. The ball is rolling. The workers are climbing up the scaffolding now and are preparing to rip out the broken windows or the broken glass. They're preparing to strip the old paint. They're preparing to add a new addition here. They're preparing all this sort of stuff now. So the work is started and the work continues. It may be a little bit of time. It takes time to build a new house, for example, or a new building. So you're being encouraged to be patient at the process, because you might find things crumble before you realize or see in your life what is being built in its place. So there's something very foundational here, something very structural that's shifting in your life and about you, and things are moving to something better. So what I would suggest from what I'm feeling here is keep being patient. Keep confronting the situations that are challenging you, because they're breaking down those old structures, so you can really figure out and determine exactly what colour you want and exactly what you want for next. Because I'll remind you again, you are creating something better than you had before. And before can even mean now. So I trust that makes sense for you, Carol. Let's grab a card here to see what that wants to add. And other than that, energy actually feels good for you. So this is the loudest thing in your vibration that's happening, and it's most likely affecting your whole body at different times. So I'm not feeling this in any particular place, but all around and everywhere. So the card to add here is this, card 60, untangling. It's in the action category, and it says, sort out the tangle, clear the knots, anxiety, complication, acknowledge what is a tangled mess, a solution, potential, freedom, and freedom exists. So this showing that right now things may feel like a tangled mess. It may feel like things are tangled and you just got to go, you got to leave, you've got to, this is enough. Things are too messy and complicated. So there is this feeling of this now. But freedom exists. A solution, potential. You're sorting out the tangle, and you can trust that the scaffolding, what's happening in the background, behind the scenes, is getting you prepared for the new building, the new you, the new place that you are going. So things may feel tangled now. Do your best to get through them as best as you can, but remember that freedom exists. It's not always going to be a big tangled, complicated mess. So untangle the knots as best as you can, but if it helps you, maybe keep visualizing the scaffolding around you, and the builders, the workers, they're at work. You have support behind the scenes helping you get to your next position and get to your next place. So I trust that resonates. Thanks, Carol. Thanks for your support. Namaste. Okay, let's grab a drink. Sorry about the random squeaking, because my stool is squeaky. Last person. The last person is KantiDevi. Kanti, please take a nice big breath. And we'll see which card do you need. Oh, the energy is getting nice and, oh, what's the word here? Settled, soothe, calm, drop. It's a bit like a, it feels like fabric, but maybe a stiff fabric is slowly lowering itself around you. It's a bit like a poncho, I suppose. A poncho that's stiff is slowly descending. There's a hole for your head, so your head peeks through, and this sort of fabric poncho thing just slowly descends over you. It wraps over your whole body except your head, because your head needs to stay clear. So it's like there's nothing clouding here. Nothing clouding. So if you were a mountain, there's no fog up here. It's clear. And the top of you feels super clear. I was nearly going to swear. It feels super clear up here. Underneath here feels calm and relaxed. And there's a lot happening under this sheet. It's a bit like going into an operation and they put a sheet over you. So no, they're not operating on your head, but it feels like there's stuff happening underneath this fabric. It feels dark, like a really dark blue. Okay, let's grab a card here, Kanti. Here. Card 35, called Flow of Love. It's in the rest category. Flow of Love. Oh, look. I just noticed his head, and then from there down. Oh, this is like a cloaky thing, isn't it? And it passed over the head and it's come down. So even though we can see this part, it's a little bit similar-ish to that one we had before for Carlee. But down here it says, open to the flow of love and allow it to guide you with everything. You can trust in your natural rhythm as you move deeper into yourself, and you are accessing these deep parts of yourself from underneath the abyss almost. So I'm seeing it as under your body because it feels like it's deep in your body. So if you had an ocean inside you, it's like right down into that ocean. And it feels really deep and beautiful in here. So there is almost a whole galaxy that's alive here under this fabric, underneath you, in the depths of your being. There's this universe to discover. It's not even a world, it's a universe under here. And it's full of things moving here, moving there, and this push and this pull. almost like a reforming or remolding that's taking place too of your body under here. So you've been stretched out here, pulled in there. Things inspire you here, things don't over there. So this real pushing and pulling, this reforming, this remolding of yourself. It's like a piece of stone that's been chipped away and sanded away to make a beautiful sculpture. This beautiful female body sculpture. Beautiful. And this shiny white stone, like a quartz, like a really shiny white, though not clear, a white quartzy looking stone underneath here. And then from under here, so from your head that's poking out, that's super clear and super exposed, this white stone seems to grow or climb its way up into your head. And up here, there feels to be like a box of stone, and it's been chipped, but very gently, very delicately chipped away at. One little bit here, one little bit there, and just very patiently chipped at. And I feel this is a real refining of your mind, a refining of your emotions, but most importantly, probably your relationship to your emotional state and your mental state. And understanding these parts of yourself at a deeper, more loving and compassionate level than before. And things are really tightening up in their intricacy and in their delicacy, in their refinement, but shiny, shiny white, like it's got glitter or sparkly pieces in the white. So take a nice big breath, and now we can remove this cloak, this covering that came down before. So it's covered up, it's stopped you from seeing the operation that's been going on under here. Even though you've felt it, you've sensed it, you've trusted it, but you haven't seen it for what it is. So we're about to remove this operation cloak covering thing with a slip of the scissors, sharp scissors, sliding up the front, pulling this off and dropping this cloak, this covering to the ground, because now you're ready to see what's taken place. And there's been, it's like a clock, a really intricate clock with lots of cogs and all these wheels turning all throughout your body in different directions. But this one turns here, that one turns there, which makes this turn, which makes that turn. And it's like this system, this intricate system that works together to keep everything timed, everything ticking away, everything in flow, everything in balance. If one cog here turns two cogs over, it's going to throw the balance of the next one. So there's this gentle mechanism that's taking place, like a rhythm, like an orchestra that's just turning and switching and turning and moving throughout your whole body, like you are this most complicated, but it's like an orchestra. All the pieces, all the parts, all the instruments are beautiful on their own, but when they come together in that order, in that synchronicity, in that rhythm, there's something really connective about that. And this system, it's a universe, it's a orchestra that's ticking away inside you. And your relationship to this orchestra, this clock, this system has become more and more refined, more aware, more refined, as you bring and gather your energy closer to yourself. And I feel that is part of the key here, that your process in the last few years has been bringing your energy closer to you. And as you've brought it closer, it's expanded further, weirdly enough. But your attention has become less distracted by outside things, but more working in conjunction with outside things. So you've brought and honed your energy closer to home, and your relationship to your inner workings and system has also related and almost cooperated or worked with the mechanism of the outside as well. So less distraction from what's happening there, how I feel, where I'm scared, but more of a it's like an attuning to the system, an attuning, and system's not quite the right word, feeling attuned to the orchestra, attuned to the sounds, because you've worked really hard to get your energy more honed, more focused, that has actually helped you expand more in a new way. So less distractions and more the workings, how everything's working together, and this beautiful system of love. And this feels a lot like this card. You know, if this area here represented all the cogs and all the systems, all the parts and the instruments in the orchestra coming together, and your mind is becoming super clear, super crystalline, and very, very refined. So I trust this resonates, Kanti. Let's add a card here, see what this wants to add. I feel that this has been more of just what I'm picking up, like an awareness of your current state, rather than doing healing things, because it doesn't feel that that's needed. So this is more of this is how I'm seeing it and feeling it now, and maybe that perspective or angle is helpful for you to be aware of. So the card that we need to add here is this here. Oh, self-confrontation, card 42. So it's almost like a hurdle or a little dust spot in one of the cogs that needs to be confronted, so you can really make sure everything's clear and pristine in here, is self-confrontation. Have courage to look in the mirror. Come out of hiding. Take your mask off, your face off. Care about how you feel. Stop holding back. And that really feels underlined now. Stop holding back. So there's no need to hold back any longer. If you feel the need to pursue, then pursue. He says create a new safe zone and honesty. So it feels like this is looking at the raw, real you, and loving what you see, and not from any ego, but just feeling this flow of love and appreciation or acknowledgement or acceptance. None of those even quite feel like the right word. About who you really are, with masks off, with distractions off, with fear away. Even if you feel a bit scared, working with that. So with all that other stuff, the stuff that previously distracted you, aside and away, and as you refine and polish all these cogs and things and systems that you're discovering and you're working with, I feel like this is revealing the true you. No masks. You've been confronting yourself and confronting the masks and the coverings that you've been wearing. So this is very much, to me, feels like a progress report, which might feel a bit weird, but I feel, and I have to trust it's necessary because this is what I'm feeling. So take from it what resonates as you do, let the rest go, and hopefully something that's come through that's been said or shared, or the visual, has helped consolidate some things for you to help give you a bit more knowledge to take you even deeper into yourself. So thank you so much, Kanti. Thanks for allowing me to connect with you today, and thank you so much for your support. Namaste. Okay, so thank you so much everyone for connecting, and what I recommend after healing time is drink lots of water, listen to your body, and be kind and gentle with yourself. So I will be back again tomorrow actually for our healing list event, so in less than 24 hours, and I'll be back again next month for our personal healing event. Thanks so much for connecting. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out through my website at templeofbalance.com.au. Thank you so much. Namaste. Okay. Have a great day.